3, 2, 1, start. Sir, I lay on the table a statement of the estimated receipts and expenditure of the Government of India for the year 1952 to 53. Stop. There has been some uncertainty about when we are likely to adjourn. Stop. Some account appeared in a paper that we may have to continue for another week. Stop. The position is that we have received from the House of the People two bills which have already been mentioned. Stop. A third bill is under consideration and it is expected that this bill will be passed on the 28th of May in the House of the People. Stop. These three bills have to be taken up and passed in the council. Stop. A date has been allotted for official business. Stop. If we are not able to complete our discussion of these bills on that day, we may have to adjourn and meet for a day or two on Monday and Tuesday as the case may be. Stop. Stanza. If the honorable members are anxious to save their time and incidentally the expenses of the government too, we may meet on Friday or Saturday evening and take up further consideration of these bills and make sure that on Saturday evening we will be able to leave for our homes. Stop. Stanza. Many of the members here have felt that the time given for the debate on the President's address was not enough. Stop. These budget proposals that are brought before our House are to be discussed and not voted upon by us. Stop. The general budget and the discussed and not voted upon by us railway budget are to be discussed threadbare in this House. Stop. If that is the case, certainly I feel the members on both sides of the House may like to have some more time. Stop. But sir, if a day is not available to us, I beg to submit that at least the hours of sitting on each day during the next week may be extended so that you will be able to give a fair and impartial adjustment of time to both sides of the House. Stop. Stanza. May I submit that while discussing the President's address, we did not have enough opportunity to discuss it, and you had the pleasure to pick up such members in spite of the fact that we got no opportunity to speak on our amendments. Stop. Now the general budget and the railway budget are going to be discussed here, and because we have a right to discuss them, we feel that more time is necessary because of the experience that we had during the discussion on the President's address. Stop. Therefore, as my friend suggested, either the sitting hours should be increased on each day or the number of days should be increased. Stop. I find that members on the other side are not prepared to increase the sitting hours on each day, and so we request you either to increase the number of days or to give us more time during those allotted days so that members of the opposition would have enough opportunity to discuss the budgets. Stop. Stanza. So far as non-official business is concerned. Stop. It is not in contemplation that a day should be set apart during this part of the current session. Stop. It may be that we may consider the desirability of allotting time for non-official business when we meet again in July. Stop stanza. So far as the time set apart for discussion of the general budget and the railway budget is concerned, I submit that 3 days for the general budget and 2 days for the railway budget are as much as would seem to be necessary for dealing with the general questions that arise out of the budget. Stop. I quite recognize that while the other house will have the opportunity of spending more time on these budgets during the discussion of the demands for grants, this house will not have the same amount of time. Stop. But the difficulty arises out of the fact that we are a second chamber, a revising chamber in regard to legislation and other matters, and it is not intended that we should go into the details of these budgets to the same extent as the other house talk. We are supposed to discuss the budget only generally. Stop. And so far as general discussion is concerned, the time that is given to these two budgets in this house is exactly the same as what is proposed to be given in the other house. Stop. So I submit that the time we have already fixed is quite sufficient for purposes of discussion in this house. Stop. Over.